that you get back to what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Right. So, Izu, tell us. I'm not bought. I have not been sold this idea of the importance of retreats here. So, explain the advantages of doing a corporate. Because I can't get to December and say that's my own. What is my company looking for me again for? What is the advantage of corporate retreats?
Okay, so one is for you to be able to have a clear-cut roadmap, right? That's really important for you to be intentional. Like I like to say, anyone can fall off a ladder by accident. Nobody climbs a ladder by accident. PPPPP. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's alliteration. That's an alliteration. That's what they call it, alliteration, right? So being better prepared is another thing. Thirdly is you really need to reward your team. So retreats can be a perfect time to also say thank you to your guys, pamper them. I mean, this year the most visited place for me this year was Lakowe. I spent a lot of time in Lakowe because I just did a lot of retreats. And shout out to Lakowe and IIT. You guys should pay me for this. For me,
you should also pay us.
Right. Just go to a golf course, just show people that Lagos is not all around all about madness, right? So have an award during your retreat to say, I reward you for being the best this, the best that, the best this. Then also I think that it's a perfect time to hear from other people, right? So the CEO sometimes the smartest guy in the room, and that's fine. But if you're going to have a retreat, you need to have external facilitators. Something I've learned about people that are very brilliant or people who have great oratory, whatever it is, people around them who listen to that thing all the time, after a while take it for granted. It's called information immunity. I mean, I remember years ago when TD Jakes used to run one of the biggest teenage fellowship in the world, right? And just when his daughter became a teenager, she got pregnant, and people was wondering like, how physician healed thyself, how can you run this type? And I'm like, no, this is psychology. Like same reason why your parents can be police officers and you still end up as a whatever it is, because if you're used to seeing your dad come back with guns every day, after a while you stop being afraid of guns, right? So I think retreat is a good time to hear other people's perspective of the same thing you're saying, right? So yes, you're a great leader, but can you get other great leaders that's not you to talk about leadership? So I think that's one of the great things to have as a great reasons why you must have a retreat. At the end of the retreat, you come out with a checklist, with a resolution, and those are key things that you need. And if I'm listening right now, I mean, I'm willing to get on a call with you guys for 20-30 minutes, right? Just send interested with your team. Just want to help you structure out how your retreat should be. It doesn't matter who's going to be a part of that retreat, right? Just make sure that you have a framework or a template. I'm ready to share a template with you. If you're listening and you want to be a part of maybe our own retreat, or you want us to organize a retreat for you, just say interested to the number 08035202891. Just say 080. Just say interested to 08035202891, or just send me a DM on Instagram. Izu is my name, EIZU.
Going back to what Mr. Izu said when he said pampering your team, it's like really essential because everybody wants to be pampered, and it's like builds morale for next year coming. Mm-hmm. So if I'm pampered personally and you treat me well, you give me an award, bonus, and everything.
Are you trying to tell me something?
Yeah. So it kind of makes me more excited to work for the next year. And, whatever you've analyzed from last year, from the beginning, wherever you made mistake, you'll be eager to, clear out that mistake and do better. So, yeah.
So talking about pampering and awards, and really just trying to sell this idea of retreats to essay. I mean, aside the pampering, which everybody loves, what else happens during the retreats? When like companies come together, or let's even use Hexavia for example. When Hexavia decides to create or organize a retreat, okay, so what should people look forward to? What should they be expecting? Because some people may feel this is another work situation. Is this man coming to call us to come and work some more and all of that? So what should people to be looking forward to?
I'll put them a step. First one is you've got to manage your expectation. Let them know that it's not just work, right? It's not just work, right? Matter of fact, the easiest way to do that is show them the activity list. Oh, we're going to play games. We're going to have board games. We're going to have a Friday evening, I'm just saying, where people lose their home training temporarily as part of the retreat. Because you also want to see the other side of your team, right? Then two is you're going to show them the facilitators, maybe people they only see on TV who's going to come and do a cameo, right? It's your retreat. That just imagine you have having a retreat, and someone like what's her name now, the dancer, Kafi, is going to take one of the dance classes in the morning. I mean, that's something that people might look forward to, right? Show them that you want to get a checklist for next year, right? An agenda, right? It's key for people to know, right? And then more importantly, I think for a retreat to really run well, there has to be like a committee apart from the whole. So retreat sometimes is not even about leadership, it's about finding new set of leaders. So the fact that your HR is the number one person doesn't mean that your retreat, like for example, Halima said something yesterday in the office and it was so powerful. We had almost finished our meeting. I just said, oh, wait a second, we're not doing, what's that thing you called it again?
Secret Santa.
Secret Santa. I hadn't even heard of it. That's how boring I am. I said Secret Santa.
Halima likes gifts.
Love language.
Right?
Gift. And when she showed it to me, I'm like, oh, you know what, just go back to the open office and tell everybody and sell the idea to them. And for me, that was a test for two things. I wanted her, because I've always felt like Halima is like genius level creative, but maybe we haven't given her type of environment for that to happen. So I wanted her to sell something for the first time. I don't know how that went actually, whether they're going to do it in the office, but sometimes it's also discovering new leaders. I don't know if everybody knows this, Google, right? Google has this policy where I think 20% of your time at work must be spent on doing non-work activity, right? So people are allowed to have their own pet project that is not work related 20% of the time. And guess what, years later that gave birth to different product. That matter of fact, the current I think Android is owned by Google, came from somebody's pet project. You know, I think Google Hangouts, just people doing small things. I say, oh, you know, so I think sometimes tell people to sell their ideas during the retreats. You know, someone who you didn't know was an event planner because she's an accountant, let her be in charge of food or something and see genius come out.
Exactly. So you can come in without knowing you have this talent, and in the retreat you discover that, oh, I can actually do this, and you discover an eating talent that way. So it's not just pampering and everything. You can also come and, you know, find new ways you can, you know, help the society or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dope. So like all this talk of pampering. Okay, we get. You want to bribe us into this situation, no problem. But for the mom and pop, for the SMEs who don't necessarily have Lakowe money, right?
Yeah.
How can they go about planning an affordable retreat?
First of all, I don't like when people sound like everything is dependent on money and yes, money is powerful, but you see there are two types of people in this world: people that live in abundance and people that live in lack. And it's not anything that has to do with money, it's a mindset. For example, I don't say I can't afford things, I just say, how can I afford things? And it works for me all the time. How can I? I mean, somebody might be listening right now, and let me give you a very practical example of it. Someone says, I can't afford things. Another person says, how can I afford things? When you think of how can I afford things, it might be butter. So let me give you a practical example. You run an ad agency. You're saying, we've not made a lot of money this year, right? So we cannot afford Lakowe. What if I tell you that Lakowe might be interested in taking your billboard as an advert company in exchange for rooms? Because they need that publicity. Like, there's just always that one thing you can exchange for another thing, right? If it was by money, you probably would not even be on this show, for example. There's always someone that needs something that you have, and someone that, you see, it's not what you don't have that stops you. Is what you have and don't know how to use, right? And now things are cheaper, right? You can't afford a large hotel, premium hotel. A shortlet, I mean, you can take a shortlet for 2 days, right, and turn the shortlet into like a small, and it might even be more interesting because now feels like family. You know, people are sharing parlors and all that. So I think that people should stop saying that, because look, cost of quality is not what it costs you. Cost of quality is what it will cost you if you don't do it. Right. So sometimes people are looking at, okay, what does a retreat cost you? I'm just saying, it costs you 2 million to do a retreat, no problem. That's not the cost of quality. What it will cost you is the 50 million idea that you lose because you never had a retreat. So you could have, right? Do you want to save 2 million or do you want to make 50 million? Right, that's where this whole idea comes from, right? So people should just understand that. I mean, I'll be willing to share you a template that can run a retreat at a budget. More importantly, I think it can be January. January is actually the best time to have a retreat because people are back, you know, they're fresh. People have that serious mindset. I read something that was really interesting. One of the biggest winners of New Year's is this company called Nike, right? People buy sneakers the most in January, and everybody knows why. You've chopped life, you've added weight, you just want to hit the gym. Shout out to our client, iFitness, right? That's one of the brands we've built. And one of the most powerful things is I've realized that every single year, the gyms are full January. December it slows down a bit because people just want to let loose. But it just shows you practically how. And sometimes people can need to start thinking about that and say, how can the current season, how does it affect my business? How can I ride on that, right? I shared this one time that Coca-Cola literally reinvented Christmas, right? There's actually no biblical correlation between December 25th and Christmas, whatever. I mean, I know I'm not Jehovah's Witness, I'm just commenting, right? But here's the funny thing, right? Coca-Cola literally just rode on the back of Christmas, created Santa that has red and white, which is Coca-Cola color, Coca-Cola just looks like, right, the kind of thing. So you can also think of that. This is the perfect time to have a nice gift, right? Your staff, right? Can you just be creative with how you reward your staff? If you have Igbo staff, those guys don't spend Christmas that much in Lagos. Pay for their flight ticket to Anambra. Anambra now has an airport. Shout out to Peter Obi. Yeah, go and verify. Yeah, but the reality about it is, you could just do creative stuff, right? I was telling my wife that how many staff do you have? Oh, you know what? I'll just buy chicken and goats for people. And as against, you might be shocked that would be really important to them. Right, so people should be creative about rewarding people. Retreat too might not even be for you. It could even be retreat for your own distributors. I know a client who's into FMCGs, and all of his distributors is saying, I'm going to do a retreat for them because if they get better, they'll buy more as a distributor. Right, it could be a spa ticket. Right, I saw the weirdest thing in a client runs a spa in Ikeja, and these guys come to buy 200 tickets of a spa, and it's the weirdest company you'd ever think. PHCN. And I thought that was really interesting. Like how'd you guys buy? And they're like, oh, they have people whose budget for light bill is like 1 million every single month, because they run big factories and all that type of stuff. And like, oh, you just want to just show people that you care. Send them a business class ticket. If that's, men are in sizes, right? Take things on your size. If it's a bust, God is good tickets that you can afford, give it to them. Why am I just calling all these brands? You better come and sponsor these shows.
You better give us money.
Right. Yeah. But that's really what it is. Just think of very innovative, creative things.
Actually, I agree, because you don't have to be all expensive. I saw this thing on the streets of Instagram where somebody was like, as a girl, why do we all expect expensive dates, going out on, to Maldives and everything, that we could also try out, paintballing, taking a walk, driving and everything. But it's actually true. You can actually get that same fun that you're looking out at a date or whatever. You can actually get that going on a ride with your guy and everything. You would even get more. You discover that what you've not been able to do on a date, you can actually get that on a ride. Do you get? So you don't have to go all extra and be expensive. Just be creative, like Mr. Izu said.
Shout out to I discovered something really amazing this year. It was walking. Shout out to PBN. I belong to this group called Premier Business Network. It's an interesting group, right? So that's why the WhatsApp group has become big. I mean, doing biggest concert, this one of the biggest shows, end of year party. And these guys on the group just created WhatsApp groups for walks. Most phones now have like the step counter and the pacer thing, right? And because they're all entrepreneurs in the group, it's like, perhaps I feel like it's going to be the biggest mastermind network with time. And here's what happens. Everyone starts to select groups, and then people start to walk. I do an average of 10,000 walks every day, right? That's about 6-7 kilometers. My house and my office isn't too far off. I don't drive. I just give my bag and my laptop to the driver, and then I walk to the office. I used to do like 10,000. I thought I was doing a lot. They started this whole thing. People were doing 30,000 steps, 40,000 steps, right? And I just realized, as humans, and human instinct for competition just comes. And it was good competition. And you know what was interesting? They now tied it to a course, right? So there's now winners and losers, and then whoever wins money, and then we can give it to charity or flood victim. And it was just interesting itself. So I agree with you. It's the little things that matter. I realized for the first time that one of the best therapies in life is taking a long walk.
Yeah.
Like just taking a long walk, and you'll be shocked at people you meet on the way. Like I'm just walking like inner streets of my area, and I'm meeting people who you probably only see on TV who are also taking walks. Like this is like 4 a.m. In fact, somebody was telling me that he discovered prayer walking. I didn't even know that was a thing, where 3 people are just walking, pacing in the middle of the night. I'm like, this guy, that sounds like an Ogboni something, just making incantations in the middle of the night. But it worked for them pretty well. So the PBN, they helped me this year. It's one of the best groups I've seen this year that I joined in. It's just a WhatsApp group, but become bigger. So don't always think that you have to be able to do something really expensive and fancy to chop life or to enjoy life. It's just a little thing, little circle, little association, little walks, right? Swimming. These things don't cost a lot, actually.
All right, still the business show this morning on Hot FM 93.3. And of course, we have Izu here as well as Alima from Hexavia and Essay. And we're pretty much trying to sell the idea and talk to you about the benefits of retreats. And of course, you can share with us what your New Year's resolution plan or theme is for 2023. Remember, to be a part of the conversation, you can call on 081 824 26591 or 081 800 89933 to call to ask your questions or contributions on the show this morning.
Keep it hot 93.
Anyone can fall off a ladder by accident, but no one climbs a ladder by accident. It's time to be intentional about your growth, your business growth, especially around strategy, structure, and business systems. You need a business consultant? Talk to Hexavia, a business and management consulting firm. Whether it's a startup or for corporate restructuring, trainings, or expansion, give us a call today on 0803 520 2891 or follow us on our socials at Hexavia. Playing the best music in the world. This is your number one radio station. Hot 93.3. More than just radio. The Business Show with Hexavia. It's the business clinic on radio. Come, learn and solve problems around strategy and structure, growing your business. Join Izu, Daisy, and Essay every Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Hot 93.3.
All right, welcome back to the business show. So remember, whatever questions that you have, you can of course call to ask this morning. Remember, please turn down the volume on your radio when you call in. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, welcome. What is your name? Yes.
Hi, everyone in the house. My name is Charles.
All right, welcome, Charles.
Hello.
Hello, Charles. I can hear you. Ooh. Charles, please call back if you can. That is 081 824 26591 or 081 800 89933. If you're having an issue with the phone line, you can also send a WhatsApp message to 081 800 89933 regards to whatever question or contribution you have with what we're discussing today.
So after you've convinced us to show up to Lakowe.
All right. Before that convincing goes on, we have another call. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Tochi.
Welcome, Tochi.
How you doing?
I'm very well.
From Lagos.
All right, welcome, Tochi. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have this seafood company. It's called Sea Chops. I moved from Canada to Nigeria some 4 years ago. So I was brought up by parents that actually own this seafood company, and I had this idea that this seafood company could be.
All right. I'm sorry.
Very, very big thing.
Sorry, Tochi. Please, can you turn down the volume on your radio or turn off your radio, please?
Oh yeah, actually.
Please, thank you very much. All right, so you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so my question now is this, yeah. I'm trying to go social media with this thing. I employed a social media person because I'm not really that into social media. I'm just asking about strategies and tactics and how to go about my seafood business and how to actually make it, take it to the next step.
Thank you very much, Tochi. So we'll look at the question right now, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tochi. So Tochi is into the seafood business, and he is thinking of ways of using social media strategies, ways of using social media to benefit as well as maybe grow and expand his business.
Okay, so first thing first is know your markets. It's really key in business. Seafood, because of the poverty in Nigeria, seafood is almost premium, right? So but when you say seafood, well, even though Titus fish is seafood, but I assume that we're talking about prawns, calamari, and lobsters and shrimps and these kind of things, right? So first things first is your market is very niche focused. right? So and people who need your service a lot more will be B2Bs more than B2Cs. So when people want to have
Okay, so let's break this down. What is B2B? What's B2C?
B2Cs are business to customers, B2B is business to business, like individuals versus corporates.
Okay.
Right. If I want to spoil myself, right, I'm probably not going to buy seafood, except seafood okra. But even seafood okra, people rather eat it out, right? So people like Ocean Basket and all these kind of brands should be your markets, right? I feel like she's gonna throw her earphones. I mean, you guys are not paying for that. But here's what I'm saying: you've got to find a way to attract those restaurants that have those things on their menu, right? So first things first would be follow all those guys on their social media pages, right?
Okay.
And then you can send them a DM to say this is what I do. But I do understand that you're not the one running social media, like you said. So whoever you're hiring for it has to be good first, or you have to be good at what he or she does. But more importantly, you've got to have a content plan for the person. So you can talk to us, can create for you a content plan, a marketing plan. Hexavia, that's what we do. We do business and management consulting. So the second thing I think you should do after you follow them is attach yourself with a celebrity chef. There's a lot of them right now.
Isn't that costly though?
Right. So, but he already has a budget to hire a social media person. You see, once again, we talked about cost of sales, right, and cost of quality. It's not what you don't have that. It's not what you have that stops you. It's what you have and don't know how to use. Those celebrity chefs are willing to jump on IG Live because everybody's just trying to increase their network. I saw a really nice ad on the Basket Mount and Sabi News, and it was so interesting how they both did a skit that sold two different shows. Like, I mean, so the thing is, people are just looking for collaborations. Like I always say on this show, brands drop off from brands. Just having like maybe a chef Stone and all these people on your show, right, to cook make something off the recipe from seafood already pushes your brand really well. And you've got to make sure your social media is not too technical or too uptight. People want to just have fun when they go on Instagram or TikTok, right? So it could be you dancing or showing fishes that are dancing in water with a nice song playing. I mean, everybody's seen Buga with fish or something really interesting. Like there's a brand that I can't even call another brand's name now that created a whole brand of chicken, and so I think that's really key. So tell stories in your social media. Reels are the best things to have, and then of course be emotional with your brand. Be really, really emotional with your brand. Show someone who's proposed, and while he proposed, there's any restaurant with the seafood or something, or just a particular brand in this country has done that consistently.
All right. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Charles again. Sorry, this one cut off the
All right.
other
No problem.
time.
Welcome back, Charles. Good to have you back. All right.
Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. So, my question is this, right? Just like you were talking about the social media business, right? Okay, I'm into the furniture business, and my furniture business started as a necessity to get things done right? Because I used to have this issue of carpenters not delivering on time, not doing it right, not doing it properly, the way it should be done. So that's how I went into the business, right? Okay, now my problem is, now I actually learned on the job. I learned on the job. It wasn't as if I went out and studied. So I learned on the job. So I'm work intensive, focused on it. So whenever I just put up the pictures of the finished work that I have done, people just complain, oh, Charles, you need to tell a story from the beginning to the end. You just have to put all those things. But, when I'm into the work, I'm carried away by doing that, right? And when I try to get people to take pictures, they don't take the picture the way I want it or do the video the way I want it. So how do you advise me, or how do you help out in this issue?
Thank you very much,
Hello?
Charles. Yeah, I can hear you, Charles. Thank you very much for your question. So we'll take a look at it now, okay?
So he's in a dilemma, right? The founder's dilemma of being self-employed and not being a CEO. See, when you're self-employed, you think you need to get things done by yourself. CEOs don't get things done by themselves; they get it done through others. So But
I mean, he has mentioned that he doesn't like, for example, if you should ask somebody to take a picture or do a video, he doesn't like how they go about it. So
it's just the wrong person. That's what I'm saying. It's just the wrong person, right? So, and one thing I always like to say is that it's always better to get 70% of your problem will be solved by personnels, right? So one of the things I'll suggest is you can change the person. That's really what my commission is about. And then, because that's such a strategic part of storytelling, is such a strategic part of his business, right? I was going to ask him how his corporate governance is, right? So, because one of the things I've learned for startups is for you to move up from that self-employed, because it's actually a dilemma. A lot of people just run one-man business, and that's almost how it sounds to me, right? Is you've got to now develop other capabilities, and that capability is management. And one of the great things a manager does is finding good talent, right? So let me give an example. If you had corporate governance, right, he's going to have somebody on his board, right, who can recommend someone. And I'm trying to look at a very practical example of this. People like Steve Jobs and all these guys that build great companies who started off their own business and now is a multi-billion-dollar business. One of the things you find is that they have helping hands. So, for example, when this guy created his corporate governance, Steve Jobs, he got a guy from Pepsi. And as of then, Pepsi was the best brand for marketing. So the guys boys pulled some of his boys from Pepsi to work with Apple, and of course they've done genius work in Pepsi. And that's why if you look at Apple, is by far, if you ask me, Apple is perhaps the most recognizable brand in the world right now, right? Simply because you can pull off resources from others. You see, if you're just working as your own self-employed, you're going to struggle with it, right? But look at what we're even doing here, right? We don't have, Hexavia doesn't have the capability for great, what's the word? None of us here are like, what you call presenters, but we're making do of your skill here. So I would suggest strongly that he increases his network, create a corporate governance, have a I was going to use a word, but I was going to say have a badass sort of someone who in your circle runs an ad agency. See, the ad agencies guys understand the magic of digital communications and advertising, right? So have somebody there who can come in, take nice videos, nice pictures, because the person who's doing it is probably not doing it well, right? I had someone from a digital agency join your team, right? So you're not reinventing the wheel. Don't major in the minor thing, because your main business is not that. Don't do it yourself. Get other people that can get it done.
All right. So when you were speaking about Tochi's question, talking about the seafood, you mentioned something about strategies and all of that. Can you give them the number that he can reach out to? Because I'm sure they would have further questions.
Yeah.
So can you give a number that he can reach out to get in touch with you or someone from Hexavia?
Okay, so the company is called Hexavia. It's spelled as Hexavia. In case you need to find us.
All right. Do you want to take it slower?
Hexavia. Hexavia. Right, my name is Izu. They're both unique names. You can't find two people with those names. EIZU on Instagram. So you can just follow me and send me a DM, or you can send interested for consulting, for a session, for trainings, for restructuring of your business. Just say interested to the number 080 3520 2891. Say that again. Just say interested 080 35202891. I'm 14 years deep in this. I'm doing my PhD. I have 3 masters. I have a PMP. This is what I do for a living. This is what I think I'm very good at. This is my ikigai. We talked about ikigai the last time. Everybody, I hope next year people find their ikigai. Something you're good at, something you're passionate about, and something you can make money from. Once you find those 3 things in one, you are genius level, right? So shout out to everyone who would find their ikigai next year. I'm hoping that if you pull a call across, we can find that thing your company can be best at, can be passionate about, and more importantly, can make the most money from. A business and management consulting firm, right? There was a template I was going to share, but there's no time. If you send me a message,
I was going to ask Essay because we are out of time now. So what wrap-up question do you want to throw so that we can wrap up conversation today?
So, like I was saying, that after you've convinced all the Gen Zs to show up to Lankowe and you've pampered us and you've bribed us, ultimately the goal is to figure out how this company moves forward. So, what can a company do differently in 2023 to accelerate, do 10 times of what they are doing now and to improve their brand recognition in 2 minutes?
Okay, so quickly, strategic partnerships. Next year, don't try to do things on your own. Strategic partnerships. Look, your first 10 million will come from hard work. Your first 100 million will come from smart work. But your first 1 billion comes from strategic partnership. I have said this several times. People don't buy houses in Banana Island and Maldives and all those fancy places simply by doing something by themselves. Look, is the deal that you introduce somebody to somebody is a 10% of that people used to buy houses in like Banana Island and them. So think strategic partnership and then be more intentional how you plan next year. Do have. Start up asking yourself, what are the things I want to be in my life? If you ask me, there's a template. 7 things you must sort out in your life is your health, your finance, your spirituality, your personal development, your friend circle, and social. Right. The same way in business is structure, finance, innovation, and experience. So ask yourself, what are things I want to be in each of those things? Write down the things you want to be. Don't bother yourself. Then go to each of those things you wrote down what you want to be and say, what are things I need to do to be those things? Then when you write out things you need to do to be those things, then I say, what can I need to have? So there's a template called Be, Do, Have. It's called the Triad of Manifestation. If you chat me up, I'll send you a template for that. I'm really looking forward to people having a much, much better next year.
All right, thank you very much. It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot that we've learned today, and I really hope that you impact it and use it as you go into 2023. But last time we mentioned the number for